Another round of communication, which got confirmed when we all applauded. But did you pay attention to your breaths while this was going on? I don't know, but for me, it kind of eases the breath. It makes for more relaxed breathing, especially the notes which don't make a sound, the spaces in between the music. But what is this string of life? This string of life is something very simple. When we all were in our mother's womb, we were connected to her body through one string. The moment we came into the world, that one string got cut off. But nature gave us another string to live by. What was that? The breath. When we came out of the body, the first thing that happens is that string gets cut and we get this new string. And even before we have our names, and even before we have our identities or our opinions or what we like or don't like, the original uh, thing that is there with us is our breath. It has been unbroken until now, and so shall it be until we pass on. So, this is something that has fascinated me. And its relationship to music is what I'm going to explore in the course of the next 10 minutes. But first, I want you to explore the sound of this thread. It's also called the sound of silence. If you go to the quietest room in the world, even there you will hear this sound. So, shall we say about 5 long breaths with our eyes open, and then close our eyes, and then focus our attention to the ears and try to see what the sound of silence is like, because I'm sure all of us experiencing this together, since all of us have this one thread unbroken running through the time since we were born. Let's do that. Sometimes doctors call it tinnitus, when nothing is there and this kind of hum is entering the ears. But this is our basic sound. We carry it all along we go throughout our lives. And this is the string of life, according to what I've seen in my experience. Because, no matter what happens, this string remains with us at all times. So, a British musician, a very proficient orchestral musician, Leopold Stokowski, says a painter paints pictures on canvas, but musicians paint their pictures on silence. This is something that again and again I experience while exploring music in the world. It's that the original sound is already there with the breath and the sound of silence. And upon it, whatever we build is something that we build upon it. And in doing so, if we do it mindfully, we may end up developing a relationship to this sound of silence, this essential sound of silence. So, my music practice is about always having an ear open for the sound of silence and building the music on top of it. And that's something you can do as a listener as well. You don't need to play music. So we might have seen some neuroscientists on YouTube say that, I mean, there's a lot of neuroscientists on YouTube study has happened and they are telling us a lot about our brains and our body. And we might have you heard them say that, if you're feeling very anxious or if you're panicking a lot for no reason, one of the best practices is to take 10 long breaths, is to come back to this essential state of breathing. So I have made some visual representations to build this context for us all, so that we can imagine what this could be like, painting upon the sound of silence through this thread. So this, for example, is what a panic state looks like. Our breathing is unregulated. It's going wherever wayward it wants to because the mind is going here and there. And if we take those 10 breaths with presence, according to these neuroscientists, a shift happens. This tangled thread starts unspooling. Of course, there's no guarantee that will happen because uh, breathing itself is a practice, mindful breathing cultivated over time. And, we need to get to a place where there is presence in our breathing, where we acknowledge the chaos that is happening and proceed from there. So this is our 10 breaths, and then we have something which is better than this. So we're more regulated, more relaxed, more in control of things, or at least more observant of what's happening. So I'm going to show you some pictorial representations of this concept that I've just built up. This is the thread in a state of flow, the breath, the mind, and the body. And this, to me, I can represent something like this through a musical phrase. To me, it looks like a musical phrase. It looks. So there's a before and after, and a base of silence, and there's a short musical phrase that was just built on that. There's also something that we can do together, you know, because I am one string and it represents one string, but together we are many strings. So if I strum a note here and I sing a note and I implore you all to sing with me, can we try and do that? Let's see where it goes for the next 10-20 seconds. Can we all try this? You're almost coming to a point where you can sing. Ha. Is it a difficult note? Will we sing it once? Let's try it. Because we are in this together, remember. How? Okay, I'll close my eyes if you all are feeling shy. You can do that too. It helps. Or sometimes there's chaos and sometimes there's conflict. So there's all sorts of these threats. But one thing that I've realized about after sitting on the rock of silence again and again is that whatever state I am in, if I do something which slows me down, or if I slow down with my breathing, I mindfully breathe, I sit down and I take up any task in my music. So a space opens up which does not exist otherwise. Otherwise, I'm in the rush of things. I'm like, I have to do this, then I have to do that, then I have to have breakfast, then I have to come to class, then I have to do this. So we're all the time you know, in movement. But when you do disrupt that by design, space can open up through consistent practice. And nature is coded in a way that, when space opens up, something rushes in to fill its place. Happens with air, happens with the water, happens with all sorts of fluids. I mean, you all know much better than me. So the same happens, I think, with inspiration, what people call inspiration. Once you slow yourself down in your practice enough to create a space, that something rushes in which is more spontaneous, which is less kind of Minecraft, and it sort of feels authentic in my experience. This instrument, the dotara, is a Bengali folk instrument, and I was on a journey last summer where I was traveling through certain cities, and every morning I would have my breakfast and go and sit somewhere on the rock of silence, I call it, and just keep sitting. And before I play my guitar, I had a guitar back then. I am just sitting, observing. It may be a crowded street, or it may be a natural place where I'm observing the birds and whatever. So I was creating the space, kind of, it was happening automatically. And then I reached Shanti Niketan, small town in Bengal, and I met this bowl musician, wonderful person. And I traveled with him, stayed with him for some time, and because of this silence, I felt I was able to come closer to his music and closer to this dotara, which was just sitting in his hut, which eventually I bought back with me. And now it's become, one of my primary instruments in which I write music. So it has a strange, beautiful reward. This act of slowing down the thread, making it flow, then making it still. It attracts things which you actually like. You know, the same practice I transferred into writing. My music practice, sitting in silence, lasted this summer, and it had a wonderful impact. It's something that you all can try. I sat down, nice natural place, right in Uttarakhand, a Himalayan town, and with pen and paper and no agenda. And I kept sitting there every day, and I had many thoughts rush past my mind. But I did not, immediately go and write them. I waited, I waited, I waited. And then when it felt right, I would write a sentence. And then again and again do this kind of thing. Something very interesting came out of it. So this is uh, uh, this is what I have to share with you essentially. The other part that I'm now realizing is that once I'm sharing this with people, once we share these practices with people, we can create something beautiful. It has a different potential because, like when we all were singing together, or most of us is singing together, it can raise the energy much more than what you can do singularly. So I do this practice personally, and then I do this practice with people, with you all. And after a while, if you honor silence enough, then you will realize that the observer also goes out of the picture and you start becoming the music as a listener and as a player. So this is what I wish to share with you all. Thank you for being so quiet and so still.